can imagine all those tiny little parts and pieces working in unison with just the turn of a single key. That's what boggles my mind.
Yep.
That guy could be the only guy on the planet that knows the proper sequence to get into that, and he unfortunately gets run over by a bus.
Yeah.
Now what? I work with museums all over the world, and this is your Ferrari of treasure chests of the day.
Definitely is.
Hi guys, welcome to another edition of History Roundtable. And Josh,
we've got something really cool on the tray today. Let's take a look.
So we've talked about treasure chests and strong boxes, caskets, coin casks. There's all different types of labels for lock boxes. This is kind of where they all started. This is a really rare example that dates to the 16th century. And the really cool thing is that it still works. And when I say works, it has the original key. The lock mechanism still works just like the day it was made. And oh, look at that, there's actually something in there. But
what better than to fill it up? What it would have held.
Now, Tony, you're going to have to get in here for the close-ups. But I'll be turning the key so you can understand how the lock mechanism works. And the larger the boxes get, the more intricate the interior locks can become. But this is just exceptional. And the reason why I want Tony to really zoom in on this is because of the acid etched decoration that is on all of the panels. And how they did this back in the day is exactly with candle wax on a fresh surface of metal. Then you remove the wax that you want the design to be left in its place. So when you put the acid's not going to eat through the wax. It's only going to eat into the metal that you've exposed. So obviously the artisan who was doing this had to be pretty skilled.
I'd say so.
Because it's not only depicting foliage and little kind of curly cues and things, but it also is depicting, like, it looks like a dragon or some kind of maybe a falcon head.
Or phoenix or something. Yeah.
But it's all over it. I mean, and even on the inside.
Now, if you love all the content that you're seeing here, and you're like, I gotta get more. I wanna see behind the scenes.
Here we are. Finally. We're in a undisclosed private location up somewhere in the mountains in California.
Well, head over to Patreon. That is where we're going to be showing first looks, behind the scenes, unboxing videos. Might even see some stuff for sale on there that you might not see anywhere else, and find us going to really cool places. So once again, head to Patreon. I'm Josh. This is Sean. Hope to see you there.
Take care, guys.
Oh, I can't wait to see that, Tony. Yep.
And again, Tony, you're gonna have to get in here on this, but what a phenomenal thing. And you know,
cool.
Over time, I hate to say it, but we're gonna probably be coming across as a little blasé because we're coming across and encountering a lot of this stuff. So don't think that this is not rare, because it is. We're just so consumed with the history of this stuff that it is almost to where it's overwhelming.
A little bit.
To where this is why we like this format, because we can now, instead of talking about a ton of stuff, we can really kind of focus on one item. And okay, you're probably wondering what these coins are. These coins are 17th and 18th century. Most of them, I think, are Russian.
I think so. Yeah.
You know,
copper coins.
Yeah. But for the look, yeah, of course, I'd love to fill this with gold coins, but I don't have those right now.
Yeah. Find us on Patreon, and maybe we can do that.
Exactly. But this is a type of thing that a lot of people don't understand, that the same people that were making the full suits of armor, same workshops, were making little treasure boxes like this and coin caskets. And they applied the same decoration to armor as they do these coin casks, which is so cool. And you can almost, by just the nature of the artwork on the armor and on these chests, if you know where that armor was made in Austria or Germany, Nuremberg, wherever, and it's got a certain mark on it and it's got the same decoration, chances are this was made in the same workshop.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
What I love about these, Sean and I come across quite a few of these. Most of them are pretty beat if they'll do survive. Rarely do they look this good. And when they do, you're paying quite a bit for them.
And the fact that you have the original key.
Right.
And that the mechanism still works. And you're talking about something that could be as early as 15.7.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
And it's funny, the smaller they are, often means the higher the price tag.
True. The larger ones, they're more robust, and they're all wrought iron. There's no wood to deteriorate, so it's only over time that these things would, in a sense, rust away.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the smaller ones, you could break them, but those larger ones, that's why they are still here.
Yeah.
But these are truly the rarity, the smaller ones.
Yeah. I love them. As a collector, both myself, as also someone who sells quite a few of these with you, it's that easy piece to combine, or rather to connect collectors who love coins, who love artifacts, relics, European history, Middle Eastern history. This is that perfect piece to put on your desk. You want something that's going to wow anybody who comes into your office, into your personal collection. If you don't have one of these, I mean, you're missing out. This is that bridge.
Well, and not everybody can find one of these.
Right.
And that's why we're bringing them to your attention, because these are the perfect catalyst in that conversation. When the lid is shut, yeah, it's a box. But when you start explaining what this is and opening it and then revealing some of your coolest coins, come on, it doesn't get better than that, especially when they're treasure coins.
Right. And there is nothing more satisfying than grabbing a handful of coins and dropping them into the chest. Like, come on.
Now, you're not going to want to do that with every type of coin.
Exactly.
So, we're doing this with these coins that are already damaged and we can't really do any harm to them. So, yes, we're being a little loose with that. But no, if those were all 2 Escudo gold coins, they're not going to be all rubbing against each other.
No.
And certainly not being dropped on top of each other.
No.
But I don't know. It's just one of those things that, what do we choose to talk about? And, this is kind of one of those things that it's a luxury and a curse. Having a 40-year collection, what do we pick off the wall to talk about? So this equals longevity of this particular type of show, because we're going to be able to talk about this stuff for a long time. And again, I've been a part of a lot of shows where out of the gate, they come out strong, but they're lacking that one thing that keeps the show going, which is the subject matter for longevity. And I think we got that part covered.
There's a couple things in here.
But so if you like this stuff, oh my God, where does this rate on the cool factor?
Oh man. All right. Well, for me, it's got a couple layers here, and I'll work up to my rating because I'm a huge collector of chests. I've got quite a few of spanning centuries, but I've become an aficionado of these things with you. And so for me, this is a 10 out of 10 for several different reasons. One, it's just a level of acid etching. So many of these don't even have that feature. They're just an iron box. And at that point, still super cool. But the intricacies within this that you can see up close, all the floral patterns, the swirls, the animals, all that, we find them in all different levels of design. And so the fact that this one has such high level of intricacy, that right there, boom, checks that box. Two, that the hinges are still working and attached. Those usually break, or it's all wobbly hanging off. That it's got the top handle intact, and that it has the key they never have the keys. They're usually broken and just, okay, it's a really cool box, but it's got its working key. It has, some features. It doesn't have an escutcheon plate, but it wasn't made to have one.
Nope.
Which is nice.
Nope, because it's acid etched.
It's acid etched. So you want to see all those details. So it checks all the boxes for cool factor for me. And the size. It's perfect for your desk. You can store any number of cool relics.
They had, I don't know if it's still in existence, but at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, they had a phenomenal exhibit on these early boxes. And my God, there were some that were literally this big.
Yeah, the matchbox.
And I mean, but you want to talk about the craftsmanship and the level of quality on something that tiny. I mean, obviously, it was just to show that craftsman's ability to make something in miniature like that. And the fact that it had working key and it was just everything you're seeing here, but holy cow. I mean, in miniature and exceptional. I saw one box. It was probably about this size. It had probably 30 bolts.
Oh, wow.
And you can imagine all those tiny little parts and pieces working in unison with just the turn of a single key. That's what boggles my mind. Because I've seen some of these chests with the most intricate of locking mechanisms. I'm like, how the hell did they figure out all the timing for all these bolts?
I know.
I don't know. It's mind-numbing. So when you see one that's more a little bit of the simplistic form, you can really kind of then, okay, that spring is doing that lever is doing that, and now you're looking at it in this form of just tons and tons of moving parts.
Yeah. And the fact that it all works and moves, that's huge.
And who was the first guy who came up with this? Genius.
Right? It was very difficult to break into these things.
Yeah.
And
and trust me, I have been giving these from museums and whatnot, and they lost the key. Oh, can you open it for us? Oh, geez, come on. I have. It's taken a long time to be so delicate because others, they throw their hands up, and you know what they do? Unfortunately, they'll empty it out, flip it over, and cut a big hole in the bottom to get to the locking mechanism. And I mean, some cases that's what you have to do, but I try everything else except for, destroying something.
Yeah.
Or I'll just hand it back and go, hey, find somebody else because I don't feel like taking this on.
But what I love about some of these is that the hidden components. I already can see the top here.
Yeah, look at
right
this.
At the top, you have a band on the left and the right sides here. And right atop the middle, you have the same band. This would slide over when the key is taken out to cover over that. Now, just from a look, you would have no idea where the keyhole was.
Right.
Slide that over. Now you can access the goods inside.
Love it.
And there's versions that we've had that are French that you can't see anything except for a tiny hole on the side, and you need a pin to poke it, and then it opens up a
little
keyhole.
door, and then that leads to something else, and that leads to something else.
Yep.
And I see these, I'm sure you've seen the videos, some of these massive, big safes from the 18th century. And it's like, first of all, you have to memorize the 28 steps just to get into this stupid thing. And it's going to take this key, and this door pops open, and you got to...
It's so much.
How do you retain all that? And God forbid that guy could be the only guy on the planet that knows the proper sequence to get into that, and he unfortunately gets run over by a bus.
Yeah.
Now what? There's no way anybody's ever gotten in there.
Which I hope at some point we can acquire one of those, because they made the smaller ones. They have the ones that are 7 feet tall.
And again, that's part of, what I told you about. You wanted to get into this. It's part of the job that really you have to wrestle with, because you inherently get attached to this stuff.
I know.
Because you're doing the research, you're holding it, you're developing that sense of appreciation of how this thing came to be.
Right.
Well, then when that person also sees that this is really cool and wants to buy it from you, now you're confronted with a dilemma.
Yeah.
How attached am I to this thing? And I can't keep it all.
Right.
We can't.
No.
So it's just like, I don't know, it's a blessing and a curse, but there's always seller's remorse when one of these things goes away. Because I don't know when I'm going to get another one. And is the next one going to be as nice and in good condition as this? Or will I never see one this nice again?
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Sean, let's take a little step back into the time period and paint me a picture of the type of person that would have carried one of these.
I always want to go back to the days of Port Royal, Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know, that was a pirate stronghold. There was lots of nefarious things going on there until everything kind of stopped when that earthquake took place and half of the wharf went under 20 feet of water.
Yep.
Well, they have found remnants of little treasure chests just like this.
No kidding.
Filled with coins, just because, again, that was a snapshot in time. When that earthquake took place, all of that sand, which was what they thought solid to a point, became liquefaction. All of it just started turning and shaking to where everything just sunk 25 feet. So shops, taverns, whatever, all of a sudden underwater, boom, instantly. So they even found Fusey. It's a type of pocket watch, chain-driven pocket watch that stopped at that particular moment in time when that earthquake took place and everything. So to answer your question, every tavern or business owner would want something like this.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I've encountered little treasure chests like these with 4 holes in the bottom plate, so they could actually anchor it to the table. So anybody that was thinking, I'll distract him and grab his, well, they're going to try, but it's anchored to the table. They're going to have to take the whole table out with them. So there's just no way.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, I try to place myself in those people's shoes. Yeah. If I was a businessman, I would want that. I'd need my coin scale.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I was a better merchant or better at my job, I'd need a bigger one.
Sure would.
But no, that's every merchant would want something like this.
Yeah.
Now,
And personal wealth.
right. So not everybody would have one like this.
Sure.
Because again, this was kind of the upper crust. So this is your Ferrari of treasure chests of the day
definitely is.
versus the other ones. If that answers your question.
It does. Yeah. Yeah, and you've seen, there's been, if you've watched our channel before, we've done a few episodes when we showed off some chests. We just sold a really nice Dutch one, that really big, heavy chest. That one's gone. Hate to see it go. Never seen another one. And just like this, I've never seen another one. And this will likely be sold after this episode comes out. So,
well, and it's not just to other collectors. I mean, I work with museums all over the world, and this is, when I'm very fortunate, let's just put it that way, to have achieved a certain level in my career to have these working relationships with museums. And, so I have great colleagues all over the world that help in the process of research. You can't do it all by yourself. It takes a village.
it does.
And that's why like-minded people like yourself, we get together, we get to have these conversations and progress the knowledge. And hopefully you're learning something from this. This is the whole point of the takeaway.
Yeah.
So again, if you like this stuff, we'll keep bringing it to you.
We've got a lot.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. Hit that subscribe. Give us a like. Share it with a couple friends. We have a lot more coming this season. Stay tuned. History Roundtable, an all-new season. Don't forget to like and share your favorite episodes. And to learn more about the artifacts on the show, visit tortugatrading.com and commodorecoins.com. Till next time.